Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're going to explore the moment Tu Na realizes the new home is hiding a deadline. The new wooden house smelled like pine sap. The floor still held the shine of fresh polish. Tu Na stepped in first, slow like she didn't want to startle the quiet. A thin paper slid from under the inner door, not a welcome note, not a receipt. A final notice, stamped in red. Alex saw it before Tu Na did. He moved too fast. His hand covered the words like a lid. Henry rushed past them, and his sandals went slap-slap on the clean wood. He laughed, choosing a corner with sunlight and declaring it his world. Tu Na didn't ask what the paper was yet. She placed her palm on the window frame instead. Cold glass, warm light, a steady breath she didn't know she still had. Alex watched her, and for the first time in weeks her eyes looked safe. That look hit him harder than any deadline. Bartang arrived behind them, carrying a small cloth bag. Eggs, a bundle of greens, things that meant, I came empty-handed only if love is empty. She touched the wooden pillar, slow and careful. A house is warm or not, she murmured, because of laughter. Alex's mother stood on the porch, not stepping in right away. She looked at the bamboo fence posts outside, at the vegetable beds Tu Na kept alive through every storm, at Alex's hands, raw from work, still trying to protect without asking permission. Tu Na finally turned back to the paper. Alex's hand was still over it, too firm, too practiced. "What is that?" she asked, not loud, just clear. Alex smiled once. Wrong. "A small thing," he said. "Just a leftover bill." Henry ran back with a toy car, and his sandals went slap-slap again, bright in the quiet. Tu Na's eyes stayed on Alex's hand, not on Henry's smile. And if a small thing had to be hidden on the first day in their new home, what else was waiting behind the walls? The day didn't slow down for a new house. It never did. Alex carried boxes in from the old shed. Tools, a spare fan, a bag of screws he'd saved like they were coins. Every trip across the yard left sweat on his collar and dust on his arms. Tu Na folded bedding and hung linen curtains so the wind could enter gently. She moved the way pregnant women move when they're strong but careful. No complaints, just small pauses when her lower back tightened. Bartang stayed close without hovering. She washed cups, she boiled water. She spoke only when her words could hold weight instead of noise. Alex's mother walked the edge of the new bamboo fence line, counting posts, measuring angles. Not because she didn't trust Alex, because she didn't trust life to stop testing them. In the afternoon, Henry got bored and ran outside, and his sandals went slap-slap on the porch boards. He chased a butterfly until it vanished into the orchard, then came back laughing like he'd won something. Tu Na's phone buzzed once, a message from the materials supplier's office. No name, just numbers, due date, amount. And the same red phrase Alex had hidden, final notice. Tu Na didn't show it to Henry. She didn't let her face change in front of him. She walked to the sink, poured water, and watched her hand tremble just enough to spill a thin line onto the counter. She wiped it fast, like she could wipe fear the same way. Alex came in, carrying a folded mat for Henry. He saw the wet counter. He saw Tu Na's jaw set in that quiet way that meant she was holding something back. "What's wrong?" he asked. Tu Na didn't answer the question. She held up the message, just long enough for his eyes to catch the amount. Alex's shoulders tightened. Then he forced them down again. "I told you," he said, "just a leftover bill." Alex's mother stepped in from the porch. Her gaze went from the phone screen to Alex's face. She didn't ask for the details. She asked the one thing that mattered. "How many days?" Alex hesitated. That hesitation was a crack you could hear. "2," he said finally. Bartang's hands stilled over a bowl. Tu Na blinked once, slow. 2 days wasn't leftover. 2 days was a rope. Henry toddled in with a crayon drawing, and his sandals went slap-slap as he waved it proudly. Tuna smiled for him, automatic. Alex took the drawing, praised it, and pretended his heart wasn't dropping. After Henry ran back to his corner, Tuna spoke again, still quiet. "Alex," she said, "why does a small thing have a deadline?" Alex opened his mouth, closed it. Alex's mother answered before he could. Not to accuse, to break the pattern. "Because someone already promised something," she said, before asking the person living under this roof. Alex flinched as if she'd touched a bruise. Tuna watched him closely, and in the middle of unpacking and laughter, the new house suddenly felt like it was balancing on one thin decision. Late afternoon, the light turned honey-colored on the wooden floor. Henry played with blocks, building a crooked house inside the house. Tuna sat at the table with the message open again. Alex stood by the window, staring at the vegetable beds like they could give him an answer. Alex's mother spoke low. "Show her," she said. Alex didn't move. He looked like a man waiting for permission to be honest, or waiting for the lie to be safer than the truth. Tuna didn't raise her voice. She didn't demand. She simply slid her notebook across the table, the one she kept for expenses and health. Fevers, belly pains, nights Alex came home late, days she smiled anyway. "I write things down," she said, "so I don't forget what my body already knows." Alex's throat worked. He reached into a folder, papers he'd kept tucked under a towel in the moving box. He placed them on the table without looking at Tuna. Loan agreement, material advance, a short-term bridge loan with penalties that climbed like stairs. Tuna read the first page, then the second. Then she froze at the signature section. Her name was there, not in printed form, in handwriting. Her handwriting. Henry shuffled closer, curious, and his sandals went slap-slap behind her chair. Tuna didn't turn. She didn't want Henry to see her face right now. "I didn't sign this," she said. Her voice didn't shake. That was the frightening part. Alex swallowed. "You signed a delivery receipt," he said. That day, Henry was crying. You turned it into this," Tuna finished. Still calm, but the calm had edges now. Alex's mother watched Alex like she was watching a young version of him make the same mistake again. Trying to protect by deciding alone. Trying to love by hiding. Bartang stepped closer, quiet as soil. She didn't ask who was right. She asked what was real. "And if it can be taken," she said softly, "then it was never small." Alex opened his hands, empty. "I was trying to finish the house," he whispered. "So you could rest. So Henry could laugh. So you wouldn't carry another worry." Tuna finally looked up. Her eyes were wet, but no tears fell. "You didn't let me carry it," she said. "You made me carry it without knowing." Henry held up his little block house, proud, and his sandals went slap-slap as he backed away, searching for a smile. Tuna gave him one, but it hurt to make. Alex stared at Tuna's name on the paper like it was a stain he couldn't scrub. And if her name was already on the debt, what part of her life did she still own? Night came, and the new house felt too quiet for how much it held. The pine smell didn't comfort anymore. It only reminded them how new things could still be fragile. Henry fell asleep early, curled on the mat with a crayon still in his hand. Tuna covered him with a small blanket and didn't linger. She was afraid if she watched him breathe, she'd start crying for real. Alex stood in the doorway of their room, not stepping in, like he didn't deserve the warmth yet. "I was going to pay it back fast," he said. "I had a plan." Tuna sat at the edge of the bed. She didn't shout. She didn't throw the papers. She held them in her lap like a weight. "A plan," she repeated. "And where was I in that plan?" Alex's voice thinned. "In the house," he said. "Safe." Tuna let out a small breath. Not a laugh, not a sigh, a sound like someone stepping on a crack and feeling the floor shift. "Safe," she said. "Alex, you built safety out of my signature." Alex's mother stood in the hall, listening without intruding. Then she stepped in, quiet authority filling the space without raising volume. "Let her speak," she told Alex. "All the way." Tu Na nodded once, grateful and furious at the same time. "Do you know," she said, "what it feels like to look at a new window and realize I might not be allowed to stay long enough to see the seasons change?" Alex tried to answer. He couldn't find words that weren't excuses. "I didn't want you to worry," he said again. And even as he said it, he knew it was the wrong line. Tu Na's eyes sharpened. "You didn't want me to say no," she corrected. "That's the truth." Alex flinched, because it landed perfectly. Alex's mother spoke, low and clean. "When you were young," she said, "you learned that you fix things by moving fast. You learned that silence is control. And you keep calling it love." Alex's jaw worked. He looked away. The guilt wasn't new, only the stakes were. Tu Na stood slowly, one hand on her belly, not dramatic, just steadying. "I'm not saying we can't finish," she said. "I'm saying I won't live in a home where I'm always the last to know." Alex took one step forward, stopped himself. He didn't touch her. He didn't want to turn comfort into another kind of control. "How much?" he asked his mother, voice cracking. 2 days, his mother replied, "and penalties after that." Alex's face tightened. 2 days meant a choice that couldn't be made softly. Tu Na's voice stayed level. "What do we lose if we pay?" she asked. "And what do we lose if we don't?" No one answered immediately, because the answer was cruel either way. Alex spoke first, rough. "If we pay, we drain the savings. And if we don't," Tu Na finished for him, "we lose the house." Alex's mother watched Alex, eyes unblinking. "Say it," she ordered gently. "Say which loss you were willing to choose without her." Alex's throat tightened until his words came out small. "I thought losing money was better than losing peace." Tu Na stared at him. "And you didn't realize you were taking peace from me first." In the corner, Henry stirred and his sandals went slap-slap as he half woke, confused, looking for a familiar voice. Tu Na moved fast to settle him, whispering until his breathing softened again. When she returned, her face was calm again. But the calm now carried a boundary. "Alex," she said, "if we survive this, it can't be because you hid it well. It has to be because you finally learned to ask." Alex's eyes filled. He nodded once, not a promise, a surrender to the truth he'd been avoiding. Morning light didn't feel like a fresh start. It felt like a countdown. Bartang came early with hot porridge. She didn't ask for explanations. She looked at Tu Na's face and read enough. Then she placed the bowl down and said, "Eat first. Not comfort, instruction, survival." Alex sat at the table with the loan papers spread out like a map he'd never wanted to follow. His hands were steady, but his eyes weren't. He kept glancing toward Henry's corner like the child's small breaths were the only thing keeping him from breaking. Tu Na opened the household notebook. She turned to the savings page. Numbers that used to mean choices now meant trade-offs. Alex's mother stood by the door, watching the yard, watching the road. She didn't say she was afraid. She didn't have to. Her stillness said it for her. The no-win choice sat on the table. Pay and strip the family bare right before the baby comes. Or delay and risk losing the roof they just built. Tu Na spoke softly. "If we pay it all," she said, "Henry's school, the baby's checkups, the emergencies." Her voice didn't shake, but her fingers pressed into the paper. "We have no cushion." Alex nodded, eyes down. "And if we don't," he said, "we lose everything we put our hands into." Bartang watched them like she'd seen storms do this before. Not as thunder, as small decisions that add up. She said one line and stopped. "Debt is a rope, she murmured. "It tightens when you pull alone." Henry woke fully and ran toward the table, and his sandals went slap-slap across the floor. He climbed onto Tu Na's lap and rested his head against her chest. He didn't ask questions. He only wanted closeness. Tu Na held him and breathed through the ache in her belly. Then she looked at Alex. "I don't want the house if it costs us," she said. "Not like this." Alex's jaw tightened. He didn't want to admit the ugliest part. So his mother did it for him, quiet and sharp. "This is your past mistake," she said to Alex. "Not the bank, not the builder. Your habit, your pride, your need to be the one who solves it." Alex's eyes closed for one beat. He nodded finally. "Yes," he whispered. Tu Na didn't humiliate him. That wasn't her way. She simply asked the question that cost. "So what do we give up?" Alex looked around the new house, the lights he hadn't finished installing, the extra shelves, the fence posts not fully set, all the nice-to-haves that were really just his way of apologizing without speaking. He swallowed. "We give up the finishing," he said. "We keep the roof. And I give up deciding alone." His mother watched him carefully. "Words," she said, "show it." By noon, the new house still stood. The fence was still half-built. The shelves were still missing. The dream looked unfinished, because it was. Tu Na sat by the window she touched on the first day. Light on her face, quiet in her shoulders, not peace yet. Just steadier air. Alex stood outside with his mother, talking low, not to hide, to keep Henry from carrying adult fear. Ba Tang swept the porch slowly, like sweeping was a way to keep the world in order. She didn't say, "It will be fine." She simply stayed. Henry padded to the doorway, and his sandals went slap-slap once, soft and sleepy. He looked up at Alex, then at Tu Na, then back at his toy house made of blocks. "Here," he said, offering one block to Alex, one block to Tu Na. Like a child's way of saying, "Hold it together." Alex took the block and smiled, small. Tu Na took hers and nodded. Neither of them spoke the big words. They didn't have to. The house heard them anyway. Alex's mother returned inside and placed the loan papers into a folder. Then she placed something else on top, a blank sheet of paper, a pen. "From now on," she said, "you write decisions down. In front of each other. So no one forgets they belong to this family." Alex looked at Tu Na. "I'll show you everything," he said. "And if I feel like hiding, I'll say it out loud." Tu Na didn't smile, but her eyes softened a fraction. "That's a start," she replied. Outside, a motorbike slowed near the bamboo gate. It didn't stop long, it didn't enter. It simply passed slowly, like someone checking if the house was still standing. Henry suddenly ran to the window, and his sandals went slap-slap again, quick and bright. He waved at nothing in particular, laughing, unaware. Tu Na watched the road after the motorbike disappeared. Then she looked back at Alex. Her voice was quiet, but it held the whole future. "If the next storm comes," she said, "will you still choose us when it's not easy to choose?"